You know that feeling, right? Your mind is just racing and the internal chatter absolutely will not quit. Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down why that happens, and we'll explore a really powerful shift in perspective that can bring a ton of clarity. It's all about moving from trying to control your thoughts to simply directing them.
Does this seem look a little too familiar? It's the middle of the night, you're totally exhausted, but instead of sleeping, your brain decides, hey, now's the perfect time to host a marathon of every worry, what if, and rerun of that awkward thing you said 3 days ago. It is so frustrating, and you're definitely not alone.
So when our minds are going a mile a minute, they're usually stuck in one of two gears. We're either hitting replay on the past, analyzing every single little detail, or we're fast-forwarding into the future, trying to solve every problem that might possibly pop up. Either way, we're not here. We're not in the present moment at all.
There's actually a name for this cycle. It's called rumination. And here's the really tricky part. It feels productive, doesn't it? It feels like if we just think about something long enough, hard enough, we can figure it out. But it's an illusion. This thought loop doesn't actually give us any control. It just pours gasoline on our anxiety.
This leads to a pretty natural question. Is the solution to just think less? Is the issue that our brains are just working too hard? That's what a lot of us believe, but it might actually be pointing us in completely the wrong direction.
And here is the absolute heart of the matter. The problem isn't the volume of our thoughts. It's the total lack of direction. Imagine your mind is this super powerful engine, but it's just stuck in neutral. It's revving and revving, making a ton of noise, burning through all your fuel, but it's not going anywhere. That's rumination.
So you have to wonder, right? If this directionless thinking is so unhelpful and draining, why do our brains default to it? Is it just some kind of bug in our mental software? Well, not exactly.
Okay, this is so important to get. This whole process, it actually starts from a legitimate place. Our brains are hardwired for survival. Their job is to scan for threats and make sure we don't underestimate them. Rumination is just that system going into overdrive. It's trying to control things that are, by their very nature, uncontrollable, like what someone else thinks of you or what's going to happen next week.
So if trying to fight our thoughts or shut them down is just a dead end, what's the alternative? Well, the solution isn't another form of control. It's something else entirely, awareness. And this isn't about having a totally empty mind. That's not realistic. It's about learning to simply observe what your mind is doing without getting tangled up in it.
I really love this visual because it just captures the whole idea perfectly. Rumination is like being swept down one of those paths, totally lost in whatever story your brain is telling. Awareness, on the other hand, is the ability to stand at that fork in the road, to see the paths, to see the thoughts for what they are, just thoughts, and not be forced down either one. You get to choose. But how does this actually help when you're worried about the future? Okay, first, awareness lets us just acknowledge that uncertainty is a part of life. We can't get rid of it. Second, and this is key, it changes our relationship with that uncertainty. We stop fighting it. And third, that shift builds this quiet confidence, moving you from I need to control everything to a much calmer, you know what? I can face whatever happens.
This all sounds great in theory, right? But the real power is when you actually apply it. So let's look at what this shift from control to direction looks like in a couple of everyday situations.
Okay, think about being at work. The ruminating mind gets totally stuck in that what-if loop. What if I make a mistake? What if they hate my presentation? It's all future-based anxiety. The shift to awareness helps you redirect that mental energy. It asks a much better question. What can I actually do right now? And that brings your focus right back to the present task, the one thing you truly have control over.
And what about those moments of rest, like when you're just trying to fall asleep? The shift here is from those endless, draining thought loops to something much simpler, the ability to just let go. To recognize the thoughts are there, sure, but to choose not to get on the train with them. And that is what allows your mind and your body to actually recharge.
This brings us to what might be the single most important takeaway, and it's summed up perfectly right here. Ruminating consumes energy, presence returns it. Think about it. Every moment you spend spinning in those thought loops is a withdrawal from your energy bank account. Every moment you can bring yourself back to the present, that's a deposit.
So the final thought I want to leave you with is this. The goal here is not to achieve a perfectly silent, empty mind. Honestly, that's impossible. The real, achievable goal is to change the relationship you have with your thoughts, to see them not as your boss, but more like passing clouds in the sky. And that simple shift, when you practice it over time, can change absolutely everything.